Hello. Hello. More stream. It is freezing in here. The wind has been angry. The cold has been pissed. My hands are icicles. My dick is cold. It's actually probably the warmest part of the human body. It's always kind of bundled up, you know? It's warm in there. Sorry. Bad start to the stream. Let's start over. Hi, welcome to another stream. We're playing Warframe. I got a tea because it's real cold. Still can't whistle. Just kind of hoping it'll come to me one day. I did it. I whistled. Still very hot. On the last Warframe stream, we were doing the Sands of Inaros quest, and it's kind of not good. It's not a great quest. It just kind of requires you to take a burial urn and then fill it with the souls of random enemies, which I guess is what's happening. I don't know. I had to do 5 denial bursts. I did it off stream because it was tedious and repetitive. So we are going to finish that quest today. I think we're at the end. And then, my schnoz is flowing. Ugh, it's so cold. We're gonna finish, Sands of Inaros, and then we have Mask of the Revenant, and then we might be done all the quests. We might finally be caught up, and then we have other goals to finish up, and that'll kind of finish up our Warframing. At least for now until the next big update. Well, maybe. I don't know what I'm gonna do, because there's... Yeah, I'm not sure, because there's, what does this do? An update is available. Not right now. I don't know, because I don't know if I'm gonna be streaming, so I don't know what the plan is. I'll do some casual streams every once in a while. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I'm too close to everything right now. It's all very stressful. I think once I get this favorites of 2023 video done, I know it's so goddamn late. I think I'll have some more mental bandwidth to figure things out. This video kind of, it's like my big problem with this video is just my general insecurity. I am general insecurity. General insecurity. What the fuck, man? So, I don't know. That's been the biggest issue. Like, actually making the video is fine. It's very hard for me to... I don't know, man. I've lived a life of... Anytime I talk about myself or anything I do, or like, I get smacked down. And it's taking some mental gymnastics to get past it. Anyway. The video's almost done. It'll come out and I'll forget it exists and people might hate it, and that's fine. Let's play Warframe.
You know it.
So yeah, I did fill the burial vessel. I did one. Because what was it? It was like Venus, Tessera. It said, like, if you get to wave like 20 to 30, you might get one. And then I did it like once or twice and I didn't get any. So I just did a ball on Europa over and over. And I got like a bunch pretty decently quick. It was not too bad.
Right before someone dies, their last word is almost always no. It was my last word to you. Remember.
You give yourself way too much credit. You do not live in my mind. I don't know who the fuck you are still. I barely know how to pronounce your damn name. Yeah, return the vessel to the tomb, the burial vessel, if you will. And you will. It's not up to you. It's up to me. My hands are starting to warm up again, but I'm worried they're gonna start to freeze. Yeah, I think we're like pretty much done this quest.
The Grenier should be swept away.
Racism. Hey Grenier, I've been informed that you gotta be swept away. Swept up, okay. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. Shut your mouth up. Get your cloud up. I have been farming. I also farmed a little bit of. I did a few Kuva siphons because I'm trying to stack up my relics. I'm really hoping that you only need one of every type, and then you can just kind of keep doing them. Like you don't have to get a bunch of them, but we'll see. Then I guess I only need one of each anyway, because it's not like I'm only doing one for the sake of getting the achievement and experiencing that. On stream. Hello. Let me down. First I sweep your wifey up, then I take your daughter. Did I go the wrong way? Nope, that is not the waypoint. That is the focus ball. But yeah, I got some relics. I got a bunch of void traces. Not, well, I say a bunch, but they're gonna be gone in like 2 seconds. I had like 200 something. I don't know, I'm kind of wondering if I should just cut out the void trace part and... Like, I don't know. I don't know mathematically what's more worth it. I don't even know how to calculate that. Like, is it better to just get the Requiem relic, try, and then... And then, you know, if I don't get it, just get a new one? Or is it better to just... Or is it better to take the time to put the void traces into them? I don't know. Is Barrow Katir actually someone of great renown and not just a smug piece of garbage? No, probably not. Here you go. Have a sacred vessel. I got it for you. Yay, another one. It's him. What a twist.
It wasn't me I was worried about.
What do you want? No, you have no right.
Inaros.
No, it's just me.
Inaros.
No.
Oh, bad job, Inaros.
But Inaros never came. You've shown me why I came here, Tenno. Not for riches. The doors are closing again. Prove that you're worthy of Inaros' strength one last time.
Yeah, I think that won't be a problem. Whoa, he's spinning. Tomb Protector. Okay, see you. Huh? What are you doing in there? What the fuck? Damn, you got big! Be careful who you call little and ugly and stupid and dumb in middle school. Oh, you're still... Is this what Inaros does? Is this who I'm fighting right now? Maybe? I'm gonna have swept up by a little broomstick stuck in my head all damn day now. Shut your cloud up. Get your mouth up. Come on out. Come on out. Alright, come on out. Was that Inaros?
My mother's call.
That looks Warframe-ish.
Inaros will rise again. Come home, Tenno.
Your mother's call? What? You were calling. I guess maybe not in the... Not like literally in relation to the last audio we heard. Anyway, we did it. Don't make me fill up another goddamn vessel. I don't want to do it. Bro, I just ate this apple. It's eroding so fast. I just had it sitting here because I don't know where to put it. I mean, I don't want to throw it in the garbage because it's got to be composted. I'm gonna put it on a tissue. Is it worth it to compost it if I have to use a tissue? Is that a net positive or a net neutral or a net negative for the planet? Oh.
She was gone, but somehow you let her speak again. You made me face my past, made me remember who I was. Take his relics and let him rise again. I couldn't think of selling them anyway. For me, these few grains of sand are all the treasure I need. Both of us know why Inaros couldn't have saved her.
No.
I wasn't able to listen then, but things are different now. Am I right?
Why would I know that? I'm supposed to know that? How the hell would I know that? Okay. Not my favorite quest. Alright, let's do Master of the Revenant. Investigate the plains. Oh, right. The Unum chooses Nikak to receive a strange mask. A mask that leads to an even stranger visions. What lost story does the Unum want to tell? I feel like this story might be the most incomprehensible of them all. At night. Now, do I have to equip the mask? Like here. Mask. I don't know what it was called, so if mask doesn't bring it up, then I'm just gonna assume it'll do it for me. Yeah, it's fine. Probably. Oh, wait, but it has to be nighttime. Night in 24 minutes. Well, shucks. Alright, then we will pivot to Requiem relics, because we need these. I got 5 of these. I need a Vo. No, I need a Jahu. And I need a Zada. Let's just refine Radiant for the best chance we can get. And then I guess we'll also do one of these. And we'll just give it a shot while we wait for nighttime. Assault. I don't know what assault is. Spy? I feel like I lose spy every time. Defense. Well, defense. Actually, let's do this publicly, because then maybe I can just, yeah, I mean, assume it's like other things where I can probably just get, maybe I can get them off other people. And hopefully just, you know, if I don't get it, hopefully they'll get it. And then, et cetera, you get it, you understand. I hope I'm strong enough for this. I truly don't know. Yeah. Well, I went the wrong way. Oh, yeah. Yeah, everybody. Rock your body. Everybody. Rock your body right. Backstreet's back today. Whoa.
Queens are attempting to distill Kuba.
What?
The chance that they might be successful. Release this poison operation and defend the apparatus for as long as possible.
Okay.
Void fissures. You need them to open a relic, but
Okay.
are you confident you can withstand their fury?
No, I'm not, honestly.
The Grineer are going to do everything in their power to destroy.
To be 1,000, I'm not confident.
Efficient. Defend yourself and use reactor to open relics.
Okay, I heard a guy. I only gotta do 2 rounds. I can probably last. Sex. Nice! Hello? I feel like the shield's going down faster than I'd like. Throw one of those there. Okay, 6. Okay, well, opening the relics isn't going to be an issue. That's for damn sure. I don't know where they primarily come from. It's so hard to keep track of everything when there's so many people. What? Bird? Was that friendly bird? Is there a friendly bird in the squad? I suppose there must be. Yeah, just throw some orbs down at all the entry points. I think we'll be good. This is incomprehensible. Holy shit. Does anyone know what's happening? Like, you ever feel like you're truly out of your depth? Like, everyone knows what's going on, but you're just floundering? Because that's exactly where I'm at right now. Calling all Kuva riders. Let's ride, let's ride. Kuva riders we do. Let's kind of hang out in my corner and figure things out. I'll just hang out up here. This is a safe place to be. Who's got the birds? That's cool. Oh no, I'm terrible. Damage check? I'm owning? I feel like just because I'm doing a lot of damage doesn't mean I'm doing a lot. 26 Void Traces is hot. This is good too. It'll let me level up. I want to. Huh? What was he up to? Is this. What is this Tesla coil? Do I have to worry about that? Is this something I have to be concerned about? Golly. Definitely prefer the solo Warframe experience. No, throw it down. What? He sucks. I think I have 247,000. Seriously, should we be worried about that? Is this hurting? I have 20,000 overshield? Yeah. I wonder what those missions are like that are balanced around like 4 max level freaks. I want to see that. That sounds crazy. I'm in the damn toilets. Help! Help, I'm in the damn toilets! I don't remember what those missions were called, but man, that sounds pretty sick. I feel like it could be real elitist. But I mean, what a high-level community in a MMO isn't a bunch of elitist pricks. Not all of them, obviously. There's a bunch of very swell people. The elitist pricks always just stand out, but that's because squeaky wheel gets the grease, etc., etc. Cyrus down. Is he up? Honestly, let me res. I need to work towards the 1,000 reses achievement. Please. Alright. Thingy's Quast. We need a Zada, a Jaha. Alright, I'll take anything, really. Oh, nice. Okay, I'm gonna take. I mean, I could take this one to give this guy some, but I'm gonna take the one I know I need. I might need this one later, but you know, we'll see. Alright, now we need Jahu. Yahoo! Alright, 3 people rocking Radiant. There's a pretty good chance I get what I want here, then. Yahoo! This makes me think of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Opening. But I don't know what he says, like Yamu. I don't know what he says. It is time to duel. Man just falls into the floor. What's everyone playing? I always forget how to check. It's... Gotta pause. Ash, Prime. That guy's got Dante. Let's chill. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what he does. I don't know who Ash Prime is. I was looking through like the thing that shows like all your master ranks, and I was flabbered and thoroughly gasted at the amount of things I haven't seen, like weapons and frames, and I guess just seeing names that I have not seen. Absurd. There's so much. Got the buffs, man. Copies of Noctua accompany everyone in his squad. They attack enemies. Sure, man. God, this is a lot. That's my friend. Don't shoot him. You are my friend. Oops. I think I just shot you. It's my favorite Naruto opening. Outro? I don't know. I think it's time for my, like, semi-annual rewatch of the entire Naruto show. And then we ignore Boruto because it doesn't exist. It really is like a horrible show. In contrast to the original Naruto. I don't say that lightly, because I really wanted to like it. But I fucking hate it. It's nice to feel relevant at a high level. That's nice. Like, I'm still hurting guys that are level, like, 69, 66, 60, you know, in that range. It's stuff's nice. That's nice. It's good to harm your foes. I mean, we're good on... I don't know, when I saw our shield got chunked in the very first wave, I was really worried we were gonna get bodied, but so far so good. So the guy who just turns off my abilities when I walk into a circle, I hate you. That guy can get fucked. Let go of me! I'm being oppressed. Damage check. I'm owning. Honestly, that's... I just need some validation that I know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, I don't mean it like I'm lording over you guys kind of way. I'm just like, what the fuck is... I don't know what the fuck is happening. It just reminds me that, hey, maybe I'm capable in this context. Maybe I can do it. But also, I'm Geyer, and I got big area of effect, and maybe it'll be a problem if I wasn't. I don't know, dude. I don't know enough about this. But the damage numbers are undeniable proof that I'm at least providing something. I think. Maybe they're not. Wait. But then I'm like, is that the expectation? Maybe that's just what I'm... they're like, yeah, you're this guy, of course. Just what you're supposed to do, dumbass. There's a chance I'm overthinking it. Me overthink something ad nauseum? Unlikely. This is violent. Good thing I have 20,000 overshield and can't be harmed. That helps. Okay.
Extraction is ready. Unless you can handle more of the enemy.
Well, that's not what I wanted, but I guess I'll take it. Ripside, there's no way. I was gonna say, there's no way he wants the damn Kuva. Alright, I'm gonna guess. I don't got any radiance.
We're done here.
I'm not gonna waste my boys' time not having radiance for my boys'. 16,000 energy restored? Oh, look. Godspeed, homies. Godspeed on your individual plights and quests. Okay, well, we got one thing we needed. We got Vome. Don't know why it says new on it. That's a little weird. We got Zada. We need Jahu. We got enough to get one more refined. We got our bow maxed out. I want to ice. Magnet! Nope, that's blast. Blast! It's one of my favorite parts of any Fesh Prince of Blair video. It's the most, it just sticks in my head the most. When Joffrey has a big magnet and he goes, magnet! He's so excited about it.
And we're out.
No. How long till night time? 5 minutes. Let's discuss the current ecological, socio-political, economical trends in Warframe. I made an incubator power core, forgot about that. I was thinking like we could make a cat, but I don't know how to do that. Learn about Helminth's charger. An infested fat pet bred from the Helminth cyst. Okay. Kavat breeding. I need 10 Kavat genetic codes to be collected by scanning wild Kavats. Oh, I was scanning Kavats. They gotta be wild. Or by purchasing them from the market. Okay. Wait, I'm using the radio wheel. I'm gonna get it locked in. Kavat genetic code. 5 fucking platinum? Eat my butt. Scan them my damn selves. I mean, it's not obviously it's not that absurd amount, but I'm like, yeah, I'll do it my damn self. You're actually, while we have a sec, let me go to my Warframe. Oh, I didn't even talk about everything I got off stream. I did a bunch of Void Relic missions to get traces, and I got Cobra and Crane Prime Guard blueprint, I assume. I don't think I actually just got the guard. Actually, no, that might be one. No, yeah, you just get the guard. A Gunson Prime blueprint, 5 Forma blueprints, a Graham Prime blade, a Phantasma Prime receiver, and an Orthos Prime blueprint. I also bought a Nihil Oubliette key, and I didn't know what that was. And then I saw the Nihil's Oubliette, which I guess you need first, so I will buy that next. And I got Frame Fighter data for Grendel, which is super relevant and cool. I mean, I figured I'd mention it. But yeah, I bought one of these keys, not really knowing what it meant, but I was like, oh, this sounds like a boss fight that I haven't done. So, next level, I will buy... Yeah, I'll buy, Yes. You have to be in a mission? Come on, now. I'm gonna forget. I'll buy the Nihil's Oubliette. We can try that. I still don't have the Steel Path, actually. Is that not a quest? This is Duviri. This is Railjack. Maybe it's I don't know. I thought it was a quest. Maybe there are more quests. Maybe I have to fill out the whole map. Could do that. Horrendous. Where was that mission that was like, you gotta fill out the whole map to do it? Vitus Essence, awarded by the Arbiters of Hexus to few Tenno capable of surviving arbitration. 16 remain, click to see the full list. Oh. Zaraman said no. Demos. Lua, Jupiter. The Ropalolist. We could try that. Open squads 1. No. Is that him? The Ropalolist? I feel like, didn't I fight him once already? At night in 2 minutes. What are we doing at night? The quest. I assume when we're in it, it'll be fun. Let's go for it. Good time. I assume when we're in the quest, it's not going to be like, oh, it's not nighttime. You got to wait till it's nighttime again. If they do that, I'm going to fight. That's it. I'm going to fight. Hello.
History is smoke, blurred by dreams, guided by ghosts. A voice, a void, lurks inside you. Its purpose not yet shown. But what am I?
It's a good-ass question. Unexpected. To say the least. To say the yeast. Hello again.
My mother, a carpenter.
Jesus?
Given light by the golden lords to build for them a better world.
Bars?
My family's journey was long. Time began to change their light. Creativity, pride, a will to live.
What? Oh my god, what do you want?
And after, I was born. A mimic. A spy. Conceived to burrow into nests and swallow the pitch eggs of the war machine. The Tenno. But when I saw your tender faces, I took mercy. Or so we were told.
What the fuck is happening? Oh my god, what do you want?
We were both imprisoned in Lua's belly.
Lose my number!
Remade by the creators. I became a memory. A ghost. Reprogrammed to destroy my family. My people. My history.
Dude, that fucking sucks ass. Can you stop talking to me?
But now I am saved by family. Together, we will overcome the flaws of our light, the gods of our creation, merging with them like steel, bearing amalgams with the weakness of neither.
Sorry, I don't speak haiku. You're gonna have to let me know what the fuck's going on in plain English. Alright, who are we fighting? Chronomirax? Hey. Oh.
As you can see, Betrayer, I've made a deal with an even higher power.
Betrayer, that's rich.
But when it comes to this turgid monster, there is some liquidity in my loyalty.
There literally always is.
Can't lay a finger on this beast with those shields it has. Maybe this was all a false hope.
Okay. There's some puzzle element here. That looks like something. Oh no.
See, the capacitors are dry. You need a concentrated energy stream to charge it again.
Concentrated energy stream. Oh. Thanks.
There's enough juice in that capacitor to flash fry a city, but no way to bring it to the beast. I wonder, could you bring the beast to it?
Could I bring the beast to it? I don't know. I don't really have many methods of moving a creature of this magnitude.
How exciting! But I do not think the moth will go so.
How about that?
Your great power, your great evil, the voice, the void within you. Our ancients still wither at its touch. But have you forgotten, Lua?
Yeah,
You were
apparently.
saved. But I was changed.
This feels like I'm doing a quest. Hey, can you... What's happening? Oh no. I'm being pushed into a hole. Oh, there's two. Let's try charge both up. Maybe I'm missing something.
Clever, but maybe a little singed, are we? It's charged near capacity. What now?
Move, bitch. Oh, it said, I think it said grab it when I got near it. Hold up. Come here. Oh, yeah, that works. Woo! Come on. Now, come on. Oh!
Oh, this has gone from bad
The
to
cape.
worse. Excellent.
Who the fuck are these guys? Hold up. Bro, what the fuck?
We suffer these tessels of ten evil, their voice and void. Suffer it well, ancient child. Do not relent.
One moment. Come here. Oh,
These patterns no longer satisfy.
wait. Oh, do I have to get rid of the shield first? Yo! Where it go? The fuck is this? I can't. Huh? Okay, yeah, it did not like that.
I was changed. Now I learn.
Whee!
Now I deny.
Hey, come here. Yo, this is pretty sick. Come on. Come on. Big ass moth. Just juke me?
The Terran charger. Too bad the articulation never worked. Might have rid us both of a certain turgid contract.
Don't move. It's gonna keep moving, okay? Figure out how to stop it from moving. I understand.
Careful, betrayer. Wouldn't want to cook all those valuable Warframe components. I still have my weekly auctions to consider.
You're next, mister. How would I get you to stop moving out of the big laser? And I can't hurt it. Maybe we'll just do it while it's, you know, distracted. Shooting missiles.
Rise, ancient Robololist. My other flesh. Your sacrifice will breathe a new way. For a new
Oh, there's another one. I didn't see that. Okay. Try me, bitch. For some reason, this reminds me of Sonic Heroes, weirdly enough. What do you mean? Excellent recovery.
Paul's other case too. I have heard the voice.
What? That's the wrong button. Aye! Thank God falling to your death doesn't punish you. Oh! Help! I can sling for some reason.
Yes, make that thing sizzle. Yes, this is it, betrayers. Rid me of this thing, and I will be grateful for at least a few days.
Uh-huh. So I guess, is this canonically supposed to take place before I finish the quest? Or the new war? Oh my god, get absolutely shit on, you dumb idiot. Where'd he go? You can't just leave. Oh. Oh.
I know what you're thinking, but the articulators couldn't handle the stress. What use?
Little bitch. Sit.
The light leaves this one and rejoins the rest.
Fuck you, cheater.
Dig no grave. I will plant no stone. Only conceive a plan for our new home.
Ooh. Oh my god. I can't void sling. I'm truly playing around the void sling. That was pretty cool. Amalgam Furax body count. Yes. Who? Ascension core. That's fun. Wisp. Say a wisp. All right, that was crazy. Not what I expected. I don't know what I was thinking when I thought I had fought that before. Alright, let's do this quest. Mask of the Revenant. Oh.
A massive sentient energy
Nope, this is not it.
I advise you to be careful.
Sure, yeah. Is this... Oh. I don't know how do you... I thought it was gonna be automatic. Is the mask an item? Like I actually have to equip one. Let's see. Yeah. Let me converse with the child. It's so framey here.
Free advice with or without purchase, Sura. I'm here to help.
Where? Oh yeah, Mask of the Lost One. Build the owner specifications and fitted with prismatic lenses. How do I put this on? Oh, is it an operator thing? Maybe that's what it was. It looked like my operator was wearing it. Maybe. Maybe not. Oh, there we go. Yeah, okay. Don't speak to me.
Alright, fine, Tenor. But if I start seeing Unum things, it's on you.
I don't know what that means, child.
And now, a massive sentient...
Damn, I look weird.
I advise you to be careful.
Okay. Okay. I assume something's going to happen. Oh, you're wait, I want to scan you, I think. Shut up. You have served your purpose. Dumbass. Oh wait, I saw a circle.
Sometimes we fail, despite our best efforts.
Sometimes we don't do our best and we killed it on purpose, idiot.
What is that? Some idol? No. Wait. Somehow it's not. I can't believe I'm saying this, but can you get a closer look? Shot! Is it working? It is working. Oh, no getting out of this now, is there?
A new threat looms. Oh.
Why
Let's see.
do I remember this? The land here, killing hot, full of strangeness. This is where Gara vanquished the sentient, where its essence fell into the ground, trapped in some unworldly between. It wanted out. At moonrise,
Who did that?
ghostly tendrils would emerge, seeking form, seeking
Water cat.
return. And this was the Warden, a Warframe. I could see it, like a dream repeating. The tendril emerging night after night, and the Warden night after night cutting it down, until the Warden himself was lost. How?
And so it goes. I'm sorry.
Master Tisana is not a good time, actually.
Unknown. The Unum is in my head. She commands you to seek the pieces of the lost one and rebuild it. What? Like I have time for this? I've got a business to run.
I'm the one doing it, you whiny ass.
Uncle said Grenir Command was excited about some relics they dug up. Maybe you should talk to Konzer.
Just kidding. Hello? Alright, it's time to gauge our strength again.
That is unfortunate. But we should try again.
I don't know what's better. I don't feel better. Oh! I mean, I try to focus on the quest. I'm getting distracted as hell, but I couldn't resist. I'm taking your appendages, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. Except block them perfectly. And I can never land a shot. That might work. I don't want to explode. This thing has so much resistance. I acknowledge you're angry. I acknowledge your emotions. I see you, I hear you. Now shut the hell up.
Energy spike. I advise falling back.
You do? Ooh, that seems bad.
The terrorist retreats, but remains close by, wary of you.
Oh, maybe it's time to just send it. That felt okay. Not amazing, but maybe we just take the opportunity. Maybe it's time we just go for it. Oh, he's broken up now. So I guess I have to break every part. But I'm probably on a time limit until daytime. How long do we have? Is it worth it? 28 minutes? Consider it done. Don't consider it done. I'm not that confident, actually. I thought I was doing something. He was kind of just chilling. This is going okay. I'm kind of getting a little worked, but like I don't know how long term how this goes, but not dead. Okay, hold up. These guys can't be getting snagged and taking all this extra damage. Also, they're tentacling to him. I don't like that. No! I can't aim! Hold up. I got shield back. I'm always distracted. Goodbye, carrier. We hardly knew you. Yeah! Oh yeah, time to go. That's probably far enough. From the Bone Buddies?
The terrorist retreats, but remains close by, wary of you.
Better be. I can't see it. Oh, I see it. Just change it back! No, I don't want a glyph! They're throwing a few tricks to a tip. Hold up, you got new moves? Ah, yeah. Should I be worried about that? Why, just chilling here? Then what are you gonna do, you big idiot? I'm 4 HP. Ah, shit. Okay. A frame with a little sustain would have gone a long way, but this is, you know, we weren't planning to do this, so. Wait, why am I owning something? I hit him so hard. Fuck. I think he's getting some new moves. Oh, because I think it's because I switched.
Energy's back. I advise falling back.
It's time to run away! Maybe we're doing this?
The terrorist retreats, but remains close by, wary of you.
Yeah, do you matter me? I see it. Oh, I got all turned around. I think it was this way. I think I saw it. I don't know if I went the right way. Maybe. I thought I saw it over here. But perhaps I didn't. We got time. We got time. Oh, I'd rather not cut it close. We got 20 minutes. Just gotta find out where the hell it went. I imagine it won't heal or anything, but I don't know that for certain. Maybe I didn't see it over here and I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't. I just have no gauge of this entire situation. I am really just playing it by ear to the most extreme. Oh, I see you. I couldn't be playing this more by ear, is what I'm saying. And I'm assuming I can't really, I don't know, what if I get close with my 4 on? Just doing anything for you? No, he doesn't care at all. I'm gonna freaking die, brother. He is so angry. Fair enough. Oh yeah, I'm going down. Oh, sheesh. I have to hit him somewhere specific here. Can't seem to hurt him at all. Hold up. Is it all you? Are you jacking my steez? Yeah, I think so. I need you to die. I think it's too much help again. Maybe? Got him? No? I can't. I think if they're there, I can't see them. There's definitely multiple don't know if I'm supposed to do anything here. But you can't get up. Oh, there was one like in him. Ugh. There's no way it heals the fall. That's... feels a little cheap. Just inside of him. I couldn't see him. Oh wait, no, it's different this time. Huh? You got too many homies. Can I shoot these? Okay, now I can just hit it. I see. And hopefully next time it'll land in a slightly better position. No, I need you to die. Sorry, non-negotiable. No, jump. Not feeling very confident. My aim! My aim! Oh, not having health regen is a problem. But at the very least, if I can't get it now, I know what I'll need next time. Fuck. I don't think that's it. I think we were doing the healing thing again. Wait. Perhaps. He's done it? Oh! Unidentified item. Oh my god, I did it. Alright! A little close, but we got there. We got a shit ton of Ascension cores. Unidentified item. Oh, wide question mark. $46? Jesus. Alright, unplanned that was gonna be what happened. But we got there. Dude, that was pretty tough. Even honestly, a little sustain. Like if I was Trinity, I don't think that would have been nearly as much of an issue. Like it was like a lot of chip damage, but like a very easy to heal amount. All right, but let's reset here before we gotta go talk to Konzu anyway. So let's get the hell out of here. Got very distracted from the quest, but that's a big goal done. Honestly, thought it'd be a little harder. I mean, I guess it is. You're supposed to work your way up to the big. There's like the Hydralist or something, right? So that wasn't even the hard one, I think. 17% chance to resist a magnetic status effect. Wow, that sucks.
The first face I saw on waking from that horrible dream. She gives, we live. Never more true than now, eh, Sura? We live in spite of Narmer. And still, the Tower of Unum stands. The Quills are even saying she spoke to you. Ah, much to do, much to do! Come.
Alright. But what about the...
I give you coordinates. You go in.
Wait, what about the quest, though? Okay, I'm just gonna leave. I don't know what happened with the quest. I don't know if that dialogue maybe bugged it. Because that was the first time I talked to him since I did the new war. Craft a Revenant component. Oh, okay. Oh, maybe because I already had a piece of Revenant, it kind of got confused. Well, now I gotta wait 12 fucking hours. Alright, I guess we will not be continuing this quest for now.
Yo.
Hello.
You know it.
Brit. Dude, that was huge, though. We got Great Eidolon Hunt done. Defeat an Eidolon Terrorist. Hell yeah. So we got achievement-wise, we have only 2 things I want to experience. Killing my Kuva Lich, the bitch, and doing a sortie.
Dano, do you really want to ruin the best chance this system has for peace?
I got to kill Alid V. Bow only? You fool. You know what? I think it's time we do our first sortie. And pet a damn dog. I don't know if... I think we'll be fine. We're not going for like a long boss fight like we just were. We're just doing 3 missions.
Why must you always...
Yeah. Stop talking to me. Yeah. Shut up. Yeah. God, he sucks.
Our intel
Ew.
suggests that our person of interest is in the vicinity. Search
Locate
for
the hostess cupcake. Consider it done. Move, you damn tunnel rats. You fucking poop goblins. You sewer sisters.
The moment you enter the holding area, they'll trigger the execution sequence.
What?
Rescue the hostage before it finishes.
There's no way the infested are just put together and calculated. I don't believe it. Calculated. You think I didn't know I'd fall right on that pipe? That's what she said? So I've been watching The Office. I feel like I need y'all to not be here before I go in. I feel like that might not be an option. Oh, maybe we're okay.
The hostage is almost out of time.
Okay.
Hurry.
They go fuck yourself, basically.
Our hostage is in one of these cells.
Am I going the right way? What? Oh, I like snuck in. Well, that's good to know. Hello? Why do I just leave the door locked and then I go out the way I came? And then you stay in here. And then when the mission ends, you get freed automatically. Don't leave the subject behind. I'm fucking out of here!
I need a weapon.
I gotta get going. I gotta get moving. I don't... Where's the... Oh. Move. Just don't get killed. That's your one job. Live. You've been doing it your whole damn life. Double tube? What is this? This tube was a dirty trick. Oh, never mind. Alright, mission 1 done. I did it. I'm capable. Why do I have 2 swords? Did I always have 2 swords? I guess. Did I always have 2 swords? Alright, this one. Exterminate, easy peasy. Oh, shut up, shut up! Ah! Silence. Peace. God, I hate him.
I'm detecting infested biosignatures all
No
over
way.
the place. You know what to do.
I don't.
Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching.
They're all Eximus? They're all Eximus? What the fuck?
I'm still detecting a lot of infestation activity. Let's clean it up.
Uh-huh. Yo, we're gonna get focus up the ass. There's so many. I didn't see what the mission like modifier was, but I think I have a few guesses on what it could have been. Actually, I have one guess. Lots of Eximus. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, it's possible. Oh, the poison is gonna fuck me. Yeah. I really would prefer not being indoors. 'Cause I don't want to be near infested because poison ruins my life. And poison toxin, you know what I mean. All of that. Wow, combat roll. Sick moves, chieftain. Loser. He's too fast. He's simply too speedy. See, this is the exact opposite of what I ever wanted. Alright. Let me out! Let me out! Feels doable. Whenever I do a high-level mission, I feel like... I mean, I don't even know if it's high level. I don't know what's high level in this game. I'm surprised I feel capable at all, is what I'm saying. I'm still not quite used to feeling worthwhile in any regard. But specifically in Warframe in this instance. I don't want you to be near me. Oh, the camera. How long can I hang out up here? Oh no! Good God. Alright, well there's an ass of health out here if I need it. And a bunch of guys killing them damn selves. I'm just gonna not go sword. Feels like a good way to get killed faster than I can react to. Fat sentence. Riven Sliver. Actually, I think it said I had 16 of those in that one screen. I could probably trade some in. Ow! Did a lot of damage. I can't even get in the build. Actually, you know what? This is fun. I'm not gonna complain about not being in a building. Chaos dunked loser. Okay, you ain't shit. Like I got fucking cremated. All right. I thought the Eidolon murder. I thought. I don't. My mouth sucks. Sorry. I thought. Hello. I thought beating the Eidolon Terrorless would take a lot more prep, but I guess I didn't. I was thinking that it would require the amp way more than it actually did. Well, I hope you're thirsty. I basically thought that would take way longer, but just winging it kind of worked out. And by kind of worked out, I mean it did work out, and we beat him. Yes, funnel through my lightning orbs. This is my favorite. Yeah, I hope so. This mission is violent. Hello. I am dead. Did not realize my health. I got 17k focus. Oh. Spooky. Ew. Gunk floor. I gotta watch my health. I really don't want to go throwing this. How did you get behind me? I'm dying. I'm fucking dead. Holy shit, dude. That toxic wall is a real problem. Oh. Aw, he's climbing. How cute. Where's the Juggernaut? I needed to die. He keeps putting out like a walls of toxin that instant kill me. You can't get up here, dipshit. A little cheesy, but oh. I would rather not lose. I'm losing! What do you mean I'm dead? What do you mean I'm dead? What do you mean I'm dead? I'm fucked. Oh no! I'm fucked. It's all over. It's all over. Give me the health. What the fuck? I took 400 damage in a tick. Okay. Okay. Good lord. Alright. We're totally fine until toxic happens, and then we are not fine. Is there anything that can do anything about that? Toxic. Toxin on bullet jump. Is there like a resist? Yeah, toxin resistance, that sounds important. Oh, I can't fit it in my I can deal with small abilities. Lots of compact spaces in there. Actually, I just lost a lot of range. What can I afford to lose? Some duration? I can afford to lose some duration. And then I will upgrade it. And I will never be harmed by toxicity in my city. Alright, hopefully that helps. And then... what is Blast good against? Fossilized infested? I don't know what that means. Magnet was good against... what is this? Radiation. Infested sinew. Consider it done. Oh, shut your mouth! Shut your mouth! I hate him.
We need to clean this area up.
Okay.
The source of the infestation and exterminate it. Stay focused.
It's like 70 less enemies to kill this time. It's weird. Maybe it's because I'm in hell immediately. Might have something to do with that. Yeah, me too. If I got toxic, then I didn't immediately die. It's a good sign. Get got, losers. Oh, I smited that guy. This could kill me. Show yourselves, cowards! Or stand in there and die, that also works. I feel like I'm not doing as much damage. I feel like I'm not... I don't know, I thought infested... I guess, I don't know. I don't know what the difference is between fossilized infested and infested sinew. I guess it just depends on how old they are. How do you know how old an infested is? Just by looking. I guess you cut it in half and count the rings? I'm getting fucked in my ass by a dog? Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Another ribbon sliver. No, I don't like you. We haven't died. It just feels like I'm not doing a very good job. But and then again, everyone is extremely powerful here. And I shouldn't hold myself to such an egregious standard. Hello? Now, summoning the Juggernaut was a bad idea last time. You'll notice I'm not slowing the fight. I don't care. Bring him to me. Mama didn't raise no punk. Who is screaming at this hour? So I think Blast... I think it only does damage if something hits. I think. I still, like, don't fully understand pretty much any basic things. At least it feels basic, but I don't know. Maybe it's... Maybe everyone feels it. I got funkled. The toxin resistance, not enough. When I have enough energy for my 4, I'm just going to approach the beast. I can't see it. I'm dead. Why am I just dying on my operator? Nothing happened. No, come here. Okay, my entire health bar instantly. That's interesting. No, get away from me. I don't want you to be near me. Where did it go? Where did it go? It's pooping. Let me fucked up. You think I'm going? Oh! I was gonna say anywhere near it. Or, you know, something to that effect. Get lost, you cold-ass honky! It's a reference. References can't be offensive. I'm fucked! I'm fuckled! Oh, the toxic resistance actually did work there. I think. I'm getting consumed. How are you here? How did he know? He's several steps ahead of me. Juggernaut's the final boss. Once we beat him, the mission's a lock. Probably. Maybe. Hopefully. Where did he go? Stop summoning your goons and fight me, coward. I'm sick of this guy's shit. I'm dead. Fuck, man. It happened so quick. Use the iframes. Use the iframes. Coward! Face me! I got him! I have 1 life left. Or this is my last one? I don't know. Just don't die anymore. Is the answer. Christ. Christopher Columbus. I did it? The number of enemies I've killed has gone up like 20 since I started the mission. Hello. Where'd everybody go?
Multiple targets ahead.
What? Oh no. Oh, let me stretch. Oh. Sometimes you gotta stretch before a big battle. Oh my god. Nope, I don't like that. Get away from me. No one's getting through this corridor unzapped. Redeemed impression is zap. Oh, it made my ears feel weird. If I didn't have to wait 12 hours to craft this Revenant component to continue this quest, we might have been able to finish Warframe today with beating that Terrorless. No, I guess we have to... Oh. Well, I think we'll have it done this week, though. Like, I was thinking we might have it done this week anyway, depending on how the Terrorless went, but now that we have it beaten, I think for sure we'll have it Warframe done this week. Unless, like, we have to craft the entirety of Revenant for this quest, and which it'll be like the start of next week, because, you know, it takes 3 days to craft a goddamn Warframe. But hopefully they won't make me do that, and you just need one piece. The one piece? Wait a minute. He was in Warframe all along. The last episode of One Piece is going to be Luffy booting up his Razer PC. Putting on his... what is that company called? Corsair... Ooh, we're slower. Putting on his Corsair headset and going, "It's game time," and opening Warframe. We found the One Peeps. This is what he's gonna say. I found the One Peeps, Zorbo. It was inside Warframe. And then it'll end with him looking into the camera and going, "I knew you were there the whole time." Thus Game of Thronesing the whole franchise. Games of Thronesing is when you ruin the whole show in one fell swoop. I just came up with that. I invented it. I did it. Go Swordy, it's your birthday. We're gonna Swordy like it's your birthday. Shit elevator. And reaching through the screen to punch everyone. I don't think we have the technology for that, but maybe once these Tesla neural links pop off, we can figure that out. So the achievement is for doing, I should clarify, I guess I have a bit. The achievement is for doing 3 sorties. But for the sake of experiencing it, I'm only going to do 1. Like, I'm not going to actually get the achievement for doing 3 sorties. I just wanted to do at least 1. Just to be clear. Let me be clear. Alright. Now we get to beat up Alad V, my favorite thing to do. Damn, he's busted! Bow only. You think that's a limiting factor, you purple slut? I'm gonna fuck him. Oh yeah, I can't melee. Okay. Hello? Are you going to escort me to the VIP?
The infestation has infiltrated his mind. It has him doing its bidding. You're here to stop him, but in doing so, you will also be showing him mercy. The mercy of freeing him from the infestation.
Understood. Yummy, yummy Neros. Neros gotta be delicious, right? I mean, look at them. How could they not be? Help. 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 I forgot. He was like bad shit. I mean, I guess I knew that already, but like, I forgot about the whole infested angle. I also don't remember or know if I've done this fight, so. I don't know. I'm not sure how this is gonna go. I'm a little nervous. I mean, maybe nervous isn't the word. Wary.
Stay focused.
Expecting to die?
Why must you always work against progress? I'm trying to bring us all together. Things could have been different if you...
What is going on with this? Oh, you shouldn't put that there.
This car
He just fucking obliterated me.
There is the assassination target. You know what to do.
Where'd he go? Here, over there. Ow, man! What the fuck? I'm truly not built for this. I cannot. Get the fuck away from me. I'm trying to do something else. You're not part of this. Oh. No! You freak! Why can't I harm you? Why can't I harm you? I would like to harm you. Why can't I harm you? I don't understand. I can't melee. I can't execute? Oh my god, it's literally bow only. I see health. I don't want to be close to you. He's gonna hurt me. Why can't I harm you? There's too many fuckers. Carrier's back. We got this. Go on, get carrying.
Multiple targets ahead.
Please stop. I don't understand why I can hurt him sometimes. And, is that real? I hate it here. I don't know how to do this fight. The problem is, like, there's a mechanic to learn, but it's real hard to learn it when he decimates you instantaneously. I'm just gonna throw my one at him and hope he just kind of dies eventually. Or that also works. He's coming for me! I love that. Ow. Alright, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go fight Mutilus Alid V. But like the actual one? He's here somewhere, I think. I can't go to him. What? Why can't I fight him? Funk. Is it like an item you need to do it or something? Oh, you gotta put an end to the... Oh, you gotta make it. Okay. How long does this take? An hour?! Fuck! I want to fight the normal one, figure out what the mechanic is, and then, you know, kill him. Hopefully. God damn it. Okay. So I can do... Zata. And hopefully, maybe if we're lucky, the last one will be Volm, and we'll already have it. Alright, well, I guess while we wait, let's go open our relic. Maybe I should get more. I don't know. Don't know.
Dano, do you really want to ruin the best chance this system has for peace?
Please? Loser. These are terrifying. Oh my goodness. Apparently Oberon's sick here. I was wondering if there's a better frame for this. Probably not one that I own. You're not allowed to hit me with magnet anymore. I've decided. Well. You know what? I'll rush it. I mean, there's not much else to do. I don't want to sit around having people just wait. Having, you know. Alright, well, in general, this should be very simple. And hopefully we can figure out his mechanic, because there's a reason to figure out why I couldn't hurt him. Be able to play around that next time. In the actual hard version.
The assassination target is nearby. Seek and destroy.
And it'll be all good. He is sick. He's sick as fuck. Alad V is sick as fuck.
But in doing so, you will also be showing him mercy.
Okay.
The mercy of freeing him from the infestation.
Yeah.
Why must you always work against progress? I'm trying to bring us all together. Things could have been different if you tried to. There I go again, giving you too much credit.
He just wants to be friends. I don't think that's true. And also, I don't want to be friends with this fucking weirdo. He's cute? No.
You have one
Why can I not? Huh? 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 I'm still getting on. Dude, the toxic damage ruins me. Why am I dying? What? I don't know. I still can't really tell. I mean, it seems like the answer is hide, and then when they say I can hit him, I go hit him, and then I hide again. Or you'll kill me in one hit. No. Like, I don't think hitting him is doing anything. What the what?
Target down. Assassination contract complete.
Mercy shown. Get shown mercy, you little bitch.
There's a heavy unit approaching. Multiple targets ahead.
Yeah, I don't really know. I gleaned no information from that. So, guess I should have just tried again. Oh, that's where you get Mesa. I'm not gonna remember that. There's no way. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah. Let's try again. I'm so sick of listening to you speak at me. Shut up!
Assassination contracts are not to be taken lightly. Eliminating this target will have a significant impact on enemy forces. Search the area. Leave no survivors. Alan Reed is sick. The infestation has infiltrated his mind. It has been doing its bidding. You're here to stop him, but in doing so, you will also be showing him mercy. The mercy of freeing him from the infestation.
Tenno. Why must you always work against progress? Things could have been different if you tried to work with.
This is a professional gaslighter.
This color will let you see like I see. It will let you watch what I want. There I go again, giving you too much credit. Must I always show you the way forward?
Trying to gather some energy before I go in.
Come to me, and I will show you the magic of this gift.
What if you said I'll show you the magic of this GIF, and then showed the GIF of that I can't think of a GIF. All I can think of is that one where the guy is chewing. The little weird clay creature.
Target spotted. Stay sharp. This one is a handful.
Stay sharp. What? There's too many freaking ads. I have done 1% of his health bar. He's like vulnerable for the splittest seconds.
Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching.
Should I be worried about this? He was hittable, but there's too many ads, man. I hit him once. How poggers is that? I dealt damage! Yes! Hello?
Multiple targets ahead.
I don't know, I'm just gonna be very patient. Or he can shoot me in the head from 4 years away. Leave little ball, man. Please, he's vulnerable. Let me hit him. Get harmed, loser. Yeah, very cool. I think it's when he throws his collar, but I can't really see when he's doing that because there's an endless army of drones happening. So dumb. Fun. So fun. Like, I can't bait him to throw it because he'll just die in one hit. So I don't know what to do except wait until it just kind of happens to work out for me, but then he has a bunch of shield and, ugh. It's just exhausting. There are too many ads. Holy fuck. Yeah, no shit, huh? I don't know. Like it's, oh my god, this is annoying. Stop. I almost broke his shield. Fun. So fun. He literally kills me in one hit from full health and full shield. It's so stupid. Whoop, wrong button, sorry about that. Am I wrong button? I mean, I just straight up just hit the, just didn't mean it did. The only thing I think of is just like being super tanky as I don't know if it'll work. This is less health. Oh, right. Yeah, it's going to be less health because I don't have the 20%. Need this. I already have that on. Just want to know the strat? Not yet.
Do you really want to ruin the best chance this system has for...
I'll look it up if I need to. It's so annoying. I don't know. I'm assuming I'm probably gonna get one shot even if I have Bless on, but we'll see. I mean, I don't need the abilities from Gaia. I think I just need to survive. The problem is I need to have energy for this to work. These freaks keep taking my juice. Hello? Move, weirdo. He's already shooting?
Do you see this color? This color will let you see like I see. It will let you want what I want.
Heavy infestation ahead.
I gotta insult them. I always think he's gonna say you have loyalty issues. Then no. No, he's still melting me.
The assassination target is here. Flank them out.
Show yourself, coward! Is this working? I can't fucking see, man! See, man. Sorry. This is working, actually. I did it. I invented the new stratagem. The problem is if I need the... Now I actually need the ads to spawn. And they're gone? I need you and now you leave? Where'd they go? Now I want you and you're nowhere to be fucking seen?
Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching.
Oh, thank God. Come here. I can't believe this is working, honestly. Ah, I pressed forward too slow. Okay, I need you. Fuck! I don't have my 4 on. I keep running out of energy now, because I died. This can definitely be optimized. Obviously. Like, I'm the one to do it. Fuck, man. Okay, wait. I need to back up for a second. I need the enemies to spawn. Because I need the energy. Oh my God, I beat him.
Nice work taking down the VIP. Now get to extraction. Multiple biosignatures detected. We've got infested incoming.
Alright. That worked a lot better than I thought it would. And my setup was definitely not great. Like, I feel like that could be optimized way further. Like, I don't have great mods. Oh, complete 3. I've completed a sortie? Complete. Why did that say 2? When did I complete a? That's not real. That's a lie. I've never done a sortie. There's no way. That must be bugged. There's no way I've done one. And just forgot. And also before this point I would have got bodied, so there's no way.
There I go again.
Okay. Alright, that's enough. No. No more talking. I mean, still pretty annoying, but we got there. I got really surprised that worked. But we done went and we done did it. I'm gonna consider I'm gonna consider that good for this. Like there's an achievement for doing one more, but we got the gist of it. Which means there's only 2 things left to do. Well, there's 3. I don't know what Steel Path is still. We still need to figure that out. Figure out where that comes from or how that works. Which I am hoping will just be a quest. And then the that which does not kill us quest for beating our Kuva Lich.
Oh, no you don't. Get back here.
I'm not going anywhere. Stop yelling at me.
Oh, lovely. Everything in its place.
Okay. I think I'm gonna call it. I got other stuff I gotta get done. Let's see if I actually get it done. Yeah, I'm gonna call it. I don't know. I just need to get this video done, but I also, I don't know. I feel so unproductive lately. Off stream, I'll do the same thing I've been doing. Farm void traces, get Requiem relics, so we can hopefully get what we need and take on Adirda. Thanks for watching the stream. I'm kind of amazed. I'm still kind of amazed that worked out as well as it did. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you next time. Peace.